Hello everyone, today is a sew upcycle reveal, as in I'm going to reveal to you things I've upcycled from other things using my sewing skills and my things that have come out of my head. But I thought rather than just reveal them, I would take you along with me on the process so you can see at the end these things that I've created, but you can find out how I did it, where the thoughts came from, and also what went wrong along the way, because that happens to me all the time. And I think it's really important to let you know that when we're doing these processes and activities and journeys, it's not always going to go exactly how we plan. Sometimes we're going to pivot, sometimes something better will happen, sometimes something bad will happen, and we will never speak of it again. So I set about with the vision of turning this Jurassic Park t-shirt into a sweatshirt, as in using majoritively the logo. So I ordered a second-hand fat-faced sweatshirt from Vinted of a red colour because I thought the red would work well with it and it would just all sort of blend together. Sadly, the one that came was not big enough. I think it's an age 12, not a size 12, because I've never had trouble getting in a size 12 item. So I can't use that as it is, but I did spot another one, and these were like a couple of pound each. I found this one and I quite liked the striped lines on it. Now that is definitely a better fit, and that is a size 12. So if that is a size 12 and this is supposed to be a size 12, something is pretty wrong in the world. Can we see the difference there? So I think it's an age 12. They are quite different. Someone did say put go dates in, but I have another idea. So what I was thinking was of mostly using this as it is and cutting out the circle and sort of appliquing it over the top. So then we keep the striped lines. We lose the word beach club and we end up with Jurassic Park here. Now, I don't think I want to do it on the back. I think the labels on the side just say beach club and things like that. So I think that's fine. It's whether I keep any of the grey or not, or whether I cut right to the black line. So that's my first thought on that. And then I didn't mention this in my previous video. If you want to see my previous video, I'll put the info here, but I have this bit of quilted fabric left from a quilted bedspread that I bought from Denim. I turned the majority of it into this jacket here, but I do have this much left, and I thought, particularly as it's lined on the back as well, I'd make a quilted bag. And I was trying to decide what kind of quilted bag I wanted, but I think I want the kind that you just pick up and carry like this and maybe has straps that are longer. There's definitely enough here, so it's do I want it just a front and back like a tote, or do I want sides? So this has been sitting for a while. I could have made a quilted gilet with what's left, but these are actually not my autumnal colours. So I think I'm going to make a quilted bag with it. And I've got like a piece here. This could be like a pocket, that sort of thing. So that's going to happen. But then I saw another idea online, which someone had inserted into a sweatshirt, these amazing bits of denim. Put a picture here of it. And so I found this jumper. This is lovely and oversized, which was from Vinted. And I do like this, but I think, yeah, if we took a chunk out here and did the denim in it, I think it could just give it a good edge to it. So I think I'll do that as well. I wanted to make a autumnal wreath, so I was thinking that actually this one that didn't fit, I could use a piece of these to make leaves on here, because I could make them slightly padded. So there's that. And then I have this dress, which is a beautiful seersucker, but it's just not the right colour for me. It's quite high necked. It is fully lined, and it's got all of these pleats and details. I'm thinking about dyeing it burgundy and then cutting it up and making a burgundy quilted jacket with it, or it might just be a good dress once I've done it, the colour. But I'm waiting for the dye to arrive, so this might not happen now, but I just thought I'd share with you what I'm thinking. I think it's a size 12. I think it's fine for me in terms of size. With a dress like this, it's just your top that you need the right size. It's not so much the bottom. Hang on, let's have a look. 2-part set. Yeah, it's a 12, so the top should fit okay. So I might need to retry it on, but it's just, I'm not wearing something this colour. I felt like I was like coming out like cotillion, or being like christened as an adult or baptized or something like that. So it just wasn't working for me. So let's see what I do with that. Right, where to start? I think I'm going to start with the Jurassic Park because I've been bursting to do that. So I'll take you along, but at the end you can see the reveals and I'll share you some of the process as I go. Okay, a pivot already. So I didn't like just the Jurassic Park on the sweatshirt because if nothing else you could see some of the lettering. So what I've decided to do is I got an old black sweatshirt and cut a piece out so that it will fit in. But what I'm going to try and do is that technique where you stitch it from behind and then cut out the shape. I've seen so many of them. This seems like the best opportunity to try it. And then what I thought I'd do if I like it is cut these cuffs off and put black cuffing on so it links together. I mean, I could always even change these for black, couldn't I? So I think if I attach it there and then pull it through, that should work. Just to like tie the bits together. And the bag, I cut out the pieces. I've chosen a pocket to go on the front. I've already stitched on and bound a pocket on the inside, and I've used the same blue top stitching so it sort of blends in. I'm going to do the thing where you cut the corners and then make a shape so that it gives it a flat bottom. And I'm just about to choose what bag straps, and I think I'm going to do the straps, they come all the way up. I probably stood. No, there is no bottom. So I think I'm thinking I'll do them all the way up and over, but I do need to check how much I've got and which ones I want. Let's crack on. Okay, so now it's time to choose the handle for this bag. Now I won a prize at Sophisticated, which was this fabric, some interfacing, and this, I can't think so, webbing. So I wondered about this. I think it's quite good actually. So I thought about that. But I have other options. These are all the things I bought when we went to the Netherlands. There's nothing suitable in there. Let's look in here. So that's binding. Oh, I've got this one. how's that one? Oh, that's pretty jolly, isn't it? That one, that's a good option. That's patterned binding. Oh, I've got the pink version of that as well. This yellow, let's just put that back in there. So it's this yellow one or this one. I think I'm enjoying this yellow one. Right, cracking on. Okay, some moments of truth. I've done the little corners on the bag, so I'm going to snip those up now. I need to think about how I'm going to finish that in a minute, because normally I would line a bag, but we combine those. If we turn it in the right way, it means you've got a base to the bag now. It's like the quickest way to do it, which means it's just got a little bit of depth now. If I'd done a bigger triangle, it would be bigger, but that works perfect just to give it a base. And now I've just got to decide on how I put on the handles, whether I want to come all the way up and over, and how I finish them at the bottom, and also which binding I use. I think I'm going for this vintage one, because I love this vintage fabric, so I think I want that on there, but it'll be at the top as well. Okay, so bag straps pinned on, pocket pinned on, binding done, and I finished the ends of the straps. Inside I have overlocked these edges, and there is the pocket inside, so that's about to be done. And the jumper is looking good. I've just got to decide whether I want to put a Jurassic Park patch on there, and whether I colour the white stripes, try and colour them yellow, not sure. So I'm now on to this one, and I've been cutting out pieces of denim. Look at that, the way the colour changes in that denim. Just look at that. So I couldn't find, I've got this amazing 90s pair of denim jeans, Levi's, that I found somewhere. Can I find them right now? No. But I've got some good pieces, and imagine that on a sleeve here. So what I'm going to do is cut off the sleeve, cut down the side to do the piece in here, and then I'm going to do the top part of the sleeve, and then I think I'll use the bottom part just to finish it back off. So here we go. Now the good thing is this is an oversized jumper, so I've got some sizing I can lose without it being a problem. It's why I chose an oversized one. If it was a snug fit, it wouldn't have been any good. Now I'm going to use the reverse applique like I've done on the Jurassic Park to stitch it on and then cut out the piece. We've got to get the sleeve off first, so that's sleeve off. So then I need to open up the shoulder. Do I need to open up the shoulder? No, I don't think. Well, I think it should go over the shoulder a bit, because otherwise, no, I think I need to put it on the back here, pin it on, then cut it off, then we'll do the sleeve piece. Yeah, I think it's far too risky to do that. Right, okay, so now it's time to pin and stitch these bits together. I am going to leave the raw edges because I think A, it will reduce bulk, and B, as time goes on, those raw edges will create interest. Right, here we go. So I'm going to go and stitch these pieces together, because if you think about it, let's get the jumper. This is going in here, so I thought the blue and the green here, like this. Who knows? Who knows if this is going to work, but we shall see. Right, okay, I have stitched massive load of denim on the back, and then I have stitched on the top. So I'm now going to cut it out. Okay, we've reached the final part and the reveal of the upcycle. So I am wearing number 1. I am extremely pleased with how this sweatshirt has turned out. So if we think back, this is a sweatshirt that just had beach something on the front. I can't even remember. Like, it was all crackled. This is clearly well worn by the faded look of it. I had my Jurassic Park t-shirt that I wasn't wearing, so I tried the reverse applique with sweatshirting. My other half says it freaks him out that it's on the angle, but it's an intentional angle, look. And I just thought it'd be more interesting than going straight across. I did replace the necktie, so that was fun, because right at the back, very good, they'd stitched it so it couldn't be all pulled all the way through, even though it had these bigger pads on them. They'd stitched it at the back so there was tiny stitches, so like had to shine my torch on to unpick it. But I do think that that black then ties in with the black cuff bands, and you might notice the stripes are now yellow. Use my Sharpie pen. Who knows what will happen when they get washed, but because it's quite crackly anyway, it just sort of, it looks like it's just a yellow cracking rather than if it was like really solid. So I am extremely happy with how this turned out, to the point where we're going out after I film this. I'm going to keep it on. It means that I've been able to enjoy the print on my t-shirt, give life back to a sweatshirt that was like £2.50 on Vinted that most people probably wouldn't want to buy because it looked a bit old, just bringing a bit of life back into it, and I just think it's worked really well. So then let's talk about the next one. So this one was quite a big experiment. Started life with quite a large sweatshirt, even though it's large is considered a 12 on Vinted. I think that's quite skewed because this was way, way bigger than a 12. But that's okay because I like a challenge. So I put in originally this big chunk of denim here, which meant I took off the arm and it gave me the opportunity to shorten the sleeve. You will notice I've gone for blue ribbing, which I think then ties in with the denim as well. I went for blue ribbing at the neck. Now the neck was quite big and it was all quite big, so I actually took a whole chunk out the back. So there's now a back seam, which barely notices, and it's a really good way of taking some, if you've got too much fabric at the back, just do a back seam. So I just ran my overlocker all the way up, and it's fine because it just brought in the neck a bit. On the front, I've done a pleat, which is a technique I've used before. That pleat has gone weird, even though I pinned it carefully. So that one, I'm going to have to unpick the overlocking a bit there and sort that out. But the pleat then just is in the right place to just give it a little feature. I realised that the denim on one side needed balancing out, so I did a small patch of denim that went over the shoulder like this here. And I actually unpicked the seam on the hem, and I really like that, the way that looks there. So blue again, so I took the sleeve off, even though I didn't need to. I took the sleeve off. A, it made it easier to stitch this, and B, it gave me the opportunity to adjust the sleeve and put the cuff on. Now the bottom was really long and way too wide, so I took as much as I could off, so there was only a small, like tiny bit left where the denim was, and then I used the same ribbing, but I took off about 4 inches of it, and so then you can see it's quite gathered, but I wanted that, I wanted to bring it in. It couldn't do any more than that. I stretched each section to their maximum, so it's worked fine. It's not a really tight stretch anyway, but it just brings it in and it's shortened it. So overall, I am really happy. I think adding the blue for the neck and the cuff has brought that together. I will definitely be wearing this. I've just got to fix that pleat. I am going to think about the fact that where you've got like this here, you know, I always wear something under a sweatshirt anyway, so I'm not hugely concerned, but I might put a lovely piece of some kind of green or blue fabric behind so that shows through, and do some hand stitching. I quite like the idea of some like visible stitching on it. And there are a few little bits where when I've done the denim, so there will be some other little bits of, it just feels like a cozy evening little get out the project. So this one I did stitch onto that, and there is denim behind, but it just feels like a cozy fireside little project. So here, there's one here as well. I will probably put a little piece behind, do some visible stitching on top so it kind of shows through. This one down here has got denim behind, but it's not 100% secured, so I might again just hand stitch round a bit. But I think it is done, but it's one of those lovely things that I can just keep journeying on with. And also, if I get a stain on the jumper, which could happen knowing me, I've realised I am a little bit of a messy eater. I don't know how I've lived most of my life not realising this. I can just do like a little denim patch or something, or a little bit of hand stitching. So it's given life again to a sweatshirt that was, again, £3 on Vinted. These were jeans that were unwearable, like lots of different ones. So that's given that denim life. So I'm very happy with how that has turned out. Then we have the bag that was made from the leftover rainbow bedspread, that was the rainbow bedspread that I used for my Havea quilted jacket, and this has hung around for 2 years in my office. Well, it is done. Here it is. So I have my pocket on the front. I went for the same binding around the pocket as around the top. This is handmade binding that I created from fat quarters bits that I have hanging around. So it's multiple fabrics attached together for the binding. It's not one. I don't know if they're from the same collection or not, but they're tonally worked together. I had to hand stitch the straps on, because by the time I'd planned where the straps were, the bag was attached together, and I was like, that is going to be such a struggle to get through my machine. But I'm very happy I've hand stitched. I am going to machine stitch quite a few times across these joins, because I just think keeps the bag strong at that point, and keeps the rest of the stitching strong because it doesn't weaken it. Pocket is inside, there it is, and I went for a really bright bias binding which I made myself. Now if you're thinking, how do I make my bias binding? I make it with one of the Simplicity bias binding machines. I'll put a link here to the vlog I made all about it. I love my bias binding machine. Yes, already I can see that stitch is pulling there, so yeah, we need to get that done ASAP. It has a little bottom to it because I did put that in there so it will sit, and I'm excited to use it. It is more summer colour vibes for me, but I'm okay about that because A, I want to use it, and B, there's plenty like spring and all that, but I'm probably going to use it anyway. Now we have a surprise entry that I haven't talked about through the rest of the video. I talked about it in my ideas video, and I had this curtains, they're children's bedroom curtains that I bought in Devon when I went on my Devon adventure, and they were like £6 for 2 of them. And I've been hoping to make a jacket. Well, it happened. I used the Ilford jacket pattern by Friday Pattern Company, but you could easily use the Paolo workwear jacket, which is free from Fabric Store, because they're very similar style. I actually cropped this more than the pattern suggested. I'm not sure on what pockets I want yet, so I'm just going to work that out. There's a great range of pocket choices in that pattern. Not everyone loves the pattern. I didn't mind it. I think it's quite a straightforward pattern if you want like a shacket, jacket, long line workwear type jacket. You could definitely make it your own. If you've sewn other things or seen other things, you could elevate it more. I actually did, now this is not in the instructions, I did flat felled seams for the shoulder and round the arm. This fabric has a good amount of poly in, which I don't like buying ordinarily, but if it's going to be a jacket and not be in contact with my skin, I'm okay about it. And it already exists in the world. It's not like I'm buying a poly. So I did those to strengthen it because it was fraying quite a lot. Now the other cunning thing I did was the curtain was lined, so I basted the lining for each piece, and I was able to keep the lining with it. And I also used the bottom of the curtain to be the hem, because you've got this amazing already done deep hem, and the hem for the lining, and the lining shorter than the jacket, so it doesn't poke out. So this is what I love about upcycling, is can you find bits that already exist within that item that you can reuse. So I cut all of the back piece and the two front pieces out at the bottom of the curtain to make sure I got that, which means that I didn't have to finish the ends. I also have, as I say, the lining already in there, which I think works really well. And I use the front edge of the curtains, the edge of the curtain, for the placket. So when I folded it over, it's got that sort of, it's stiff enough that it didn't need facing, and it meant that the lining was all perfectly neatly in there as well. So when you cut out something that is you're bringing to life from another item that's in the world, so curtain, duvet, whatever, do look at the placement of how you can use it. I put teeny tiny ric-rac around here, that's the back there, just so it just pokes out an absolute smidge, just to give a bit of texture. And I also used on the bottom of the sleeves the seam as well of the curtain, because it meant A, that the lining was not going to poke out, it was the right length, and B, it means I can turn it up without A, the lining showing, and B, with the print on the other side. Just those moments make me a little bit smug. Now I think what some people don't like is that it's not a proper set-in sleeve, it's like a triangle, so that was quite a challenge when I got to the flat velteens, but I managed it, but it was a bit of finagling and a bit of pushing it down and things like that. So I'm all done apart from buttons, so I've just got to decide whether to do buttonholes and some buttons. I think there's a lot of choice of button colours, or whether I use those lovely bright poppers that I have that I could vary in colour. So I'm just deciding that, but apart from that, it is done. Now I'm going to show you something that's part of this upcycle that may not be finished by the end of the month, but I will be doing another video on it anyway. So I have, unsurprisingly, some leftover bits of quilts from making previous quilted jackets. And one of them is sort of a powdery blue on one side and like a cream on the other. I already used it to make a toile of one quilted jacket, which has gone out in the world that someone else is enjoying. But there's quite a bit left. It was originally from a shop called Heels, so I had a good suspicion that it was 100% cotton. I wasn't sure about the stitching, but I didn't want it that colour. Now I've been sort of lusting after like burgundy, purpley, autumnal colour quilted jacket, and although I saw some gorgeous fabrics, I was like, surely I can do something with what I've got. So I popped it in the machine with some Dylon machine dye. I think I went for deep plum, deep red, deep violet. I'll put a picture of it here. Very pleased with how it's turned out. So the cream side has turned out like this. So this is one piece. So I dyed it once I'd cut it out. So I was only dyeing the pieces I needed, which was less stress on my washing machine. And the blue side, now I wasn't sure how the blue was going to go. I love it. If you look closely, the stitching has dyed the lighter colour because the stitching was the cream. I just love it. So I thought the blue would be the interior. I now think the blue will be the exterior, but I might make it reversible. So I am making the Spaghetti Western Sewing Roo quilted jacket, but I will do this in another video. The one mistake I made was I forgot to dye some fabric for pockets because I hadn't decided what pockets I wanted. So I might get another pod, dye that plus some other bits at the same time, or I might use my right dye and do like a slight different shade because I've got a purple, so it could be a contrasting shade, but I didn't know, and I still don't know what kind of pocket I want. And it has a couple of pocket choices as well. And it might be I just do pockets on this side in like a contrasting fabric maybe. So next step will be bias binding. I think I will be upcycling some vintage sheet for that. Just going to decide what colour. So lots of choices to make, but this will come in another video. But sometimes it is just worth looking at something you've got, getting a dye pod and chucking it in the washing machine. If you're worried about the effects on your washing machine, firstly you do the dye, then you run a whole nother wash with it in to rinse that through, but also it rinses your machine through. You could then run your machine through another wash. I don't normally. I normally make sure I wipe the sill and the glass in case anything gets on there. But normally what I do is I do make sure I do a darker wash for my first wash, and I always put a colour catcher in because that will catch any remnants left. But if you do a darker wash, even if there was a bit left, it's not going to show up, you know, like all those blacks and blues and everything. And it depends what colour you do to how much you have to worry. But yeah, I'll just do a dark wash with a colour catcher in there. So there we go. So I would say that, as I've said in previous years, I love upcycling, and I really enjoy that Sew Upcycle gives me that month to focus on it. I do it at other times of year, but I love that it gives me that zone. It's kind of a great time of year as well. It just feels like a seasonal change time of year. If you haven't seen my ideas video, I will put it at the end because that video has lots of inspiration for other things I haven't mentioned here. So I'll catch you again soon.